Hey, folks! It's me, Mal, and it's lunch with Mal. Yes, I'm like, wait, who am I? What am I doing? Sorry, I'm a bit late. I was in the throes of marketing, so it took me a little bit to wrap that up. So I made sure I got it all done. I was doing a newsletter, talking to my readers about everything that I have planned for this year, and I realized partway through the newsletter that this is like three or four newsletters because it was going to be like a probably a 1,500 to 2,000 word email. So I'm like, no one's going to read this. So I broke it into a first part about like, hey, um, I'm working on getting my house in order, getting lots of taken care of. And one of the big things I've been doing is updating all my print editions. Some of them just like updating the back matter because like the last time we updated those print editions was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And other ones were certain books just I never did print editions for, just been in a rush and was in the post-COVID throes back in the day, never got them done. So I said to my readers, like, hey, this entire series that other than book one had never had print editions for literally 5 years. Now it's print editions. And part of it was people were asking me, like, hey, we're, we're buying all your books in print, which is like becoming a bigger thing these days. And we'd like to get the print editions. So I sort of had this impetus to start doing it. And then I emailed my fans. And I was talking to my fans about why it was like an important series and how it tied into other things. And I was like, I should put a link to all of these books. People can get them. And I thought, well, if we're going to put a link to all these books, maybe I should just also like run a sale. So I put the ebooks on sale too. So long story short, I was frantically like getting all the ebooks on sale so that I could get this email out at the regular time that I want to have my email out, and hence um, me being a little bit late. And good morning, Tim. Good morning, Kate. Yeah, sound off, folks. Say hi. It is nice to see you. This is our, I mean, I guess last week was the first lunch with Val of 2026, but that was like New Year's Day. And that's still in the time between times, that whole stretch from like, like say the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd of December, clear up to the end of whatever week New Year's in. Time doesn't count. It's like I think I mentioned this last time. Like on the Roman calendar, there were like a solid two-ish months of time in winter that just didn't even exist on the calendar. There were no months for it or anything. Hey, Christina, how are you doing? So it's nice to see you folks here, even though I'm late, and some people might have been like, that now character. She's up. She's always up to no good. But yeah, I'm really excited for everything for the year. I have a bunch of emails planned to send to my readers because, like I said, the email I was writing ended up being like like a short story practically. Um, and Jill and I have a bunch of ideas for things I need to be doing with my universe as well. It's kind of neat because back when I was like writing hardcore, book a week, or even like a book a month, it was just the grind, right? Getting the next book out. It was a good grind. I love doing it. I love telling these stories. But I didn't have a lot of time to like play around with other ideas. And we've got some really cool ideas of how we're going to do more mixed media stuff coming up. So I'm going to be telling my readers about that. I'm going to be letting them vote on next series that I kick off. I think they're going to be pretty excited about all the stuff that's coming. This is definitely the year of me getting my writing mojo back. Hello, Cecilia. And Chantel, how are you doing? Yeah, Tim, the Big Monster. Tim is one of my readers, and I think definitely some of the new people on Discord will absolutely enjoy that. I'm gonna be making a bigger push to get more of my readers on Discord. Back when I first kicked off the Discord, which was like 7 years ago, I want to say it wasn't like Discord wasn't as big as it is now, and I feel like there's probably a lot more my readers now that would love to get onto Discord. Hello, Denise. So along those lines, I'm kind of curious what you guys are doing to work on getting your house in order this coming year. Now, maybe you're like Mal, girl, my house is perfectly in order, and I'd love to hear about that too. If you got everything buttoned up, like back matters up to date, covers are all good. You've got print editions for everything. You've even like done like your hard covers for all of your books. Like, I want to hear about that because I think it's encouraging to all of us to hear about folks who got it done. And also, like, I'm sure it feels good to have it all done. I wouldn't know. I always feel like I'm in an eternal state of not being done with all of my books. I mean, heck, I've got a book called The Reading Guide to Aeon 14. Aeon 14, for those who don't know, is my sci-fi universe. I don't think I've updated it since 2019. And someone messaged me just today and they're like, this thing is so out of date. It's kind of, you should take it down if you don't update it. And I'm like, fair, fair. I probably should take it down if I don't update. Um, so I've got a lot. I want to do a lot of that. I want to take some time, this year, and instead of like doing busy work, like um, I guess a lot. Everybody has like different kind of busy work, but like just posting memes in your fan group or who knows what. Like instead of doing stuff like that, I'm gonna get some of this stuff buttoned up and get it taken care of. Christina says her mal is definitely her mal. Yes, her house is certainly not in order. Um, and yeah, get that Discord going. Invite your readers over there. Hey, I mean, if you're the one of the things I do say, if you don't use Discord, if Discord's not a place where you hang out, probably not the best thing to like try and fire up a Discord and invite a bunch of readers to it. But if you want to have Discord be a thing, try to move some of like your regular chatting over there. Like, are there authors you chat with, family members? Maybe they have Discord accounts, and you can have like your regular chatting happen on Discord. That way, you're in there more often. You'll see when your fan group has stuff going on, and you can engage with them. Um, and if you are already using Discord, then yeah, get that fan group going on Discord. It's a lot more fun, I think, than like a Facebook group or something like that. Tim knows the things. Started Discord just over 6 years ago, late 2019. Uh, which probably that sounds about right. That sounds around when I would probably have started that. I thought maybe it was a little bit earlier, but um, that's probably still pretty bang on, to be honest. And right before pandemic kicked off. So I think like taking some time to do some of that attention to detail stuff is really important. Make sure that your book listings on your website are up to date. Uh, so doing your back matter, making sure that's all up to date. Even things like finishing that breeder magnet that you started 4 years ago. That would be a great lead into a series that you could put up on BookFunnel and use to grab new readers, fill up your mailing list, all that stuff. Like this is the time of year to really think about how can I slot some of that stuff into my year. And I'm certainly not saying do it all right now, all at once, because that's overwhelming, right? That's a lot. But as you probably know, most of us authors are neurodivergent. Many of us are ADHD, which means we're kind of like eternally searching for that next dopamine. And some of that, doing some stuff like that, like taking a series, updating the back matter, or rolling out those new covers you bought that you haven't got around to putting on that whole series, whatever it might be that you could do to sort of like get something done and feel like a thing is done, and you can actually set it aside and take it out of your mind is great. Plus you get that dopamine hit that you're actually searching for. It'll be a good dopamine hit, not like a I played this random web game for 5 minutes and got 4 gold stars for the first time dopamine hit, but like a solid dopamine hit that really like makes you feel like you've got stuff tidied. Because one of the things that is we know about the human mind is that we like seeing things in order. We like repeating patterns. We like consistency. We like a shelf with a bunch of things on it that are the same size, spaced evenly. It actually does like good things for our brain, which is why my shelf needs to be cleaned up because it's getting cluttered. It's getting to have a lot of stuff up there. But look at this. Look at this. Right? It's the sorceress from He-Man. This is my first girl crush. Seriously. She was amazing. Anyway, I should put her back in the place of honor, front and center. There we go. All right. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, Tim as a reader speaks, I think, for a lot of readers in that it's great to have fun and have conversations right with the author. Denise says, my house is a mess at the moment. I just recently lost my graphic design job, and I'm currently helping my hubby, Jay Sarah, mystery thriller author, with selling books, which we suck at. Oh, well, hopefully you can get better at that, Denise. But yeah, I would imagine you probably do feel like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. One great thing though is like if you get yourself into the author community, there's a lot of graphic design work in the author community if you're down for that kind of graphic design. So um, definitely, definitely an opportunity, I think, for you. There's, especially with people moving more into Kickstarters, into special editions, books with sprayed edges, special artwork to go along with Kickstarters, interior art, even just like wanting to do better layouts of their books and stuff like that. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, right now. Jill said something was from Eva. I don't know what that is that was from Eva. Did I miss a comment? Oh, the hello. Hello, Eva. I missed the hello from my daughter. Jill actually does like admin work more than writing. I'm like 50-50. But the great thing is, if you like admin work, there's a lot of like this kind of cleaning up your house stuff that you can do. He says we're updating our covers right now because we don't think we have the correct fonts. And we have to upload them all the new files every platform. Yeah, that is not a small thing. And good on you for like paying attention to fonts. The font you use on your book cover is really important. Thrillers have a very specific style of font they use. You said these were mystery thrillers, right? Mystery thriller author. Are they? So if they're contemporary, obviously it's going to be bold, sans serif, um, big fonted things. Depending on the type of book, it might be like you might want to use yellow. Yellow is one of the, if it's like a spooky mystery, then yellow is like the big color to use. It's not spooky mystery. You have other options, but yeah, there's a lot to consider along those lines. Christina says, I struggle with digging into learning ads and marketing strategies. My brain just doesn't want to focus, and I gotta. It is, unfortunately, for a lot of us authors, it's the thing we have to do. Just because you can write a book doesn't mean you want to be a small business owner. But as indie authors, we're effectively all small business owners. And I tell you, when I see stuff like that, Christina, sometimes I'm just like, wow, I wish I could actually be a publisher and just publish books for people who do all the marketing and all that sort of thing. But I know personally that if I were to do that, I would actually take on all of the emotional load of every single person's success and lay awake at night, like fretting about things. So it's not something I can take on. So I try to help in any way I can, but hopefully we can. But one of the big things when it comes to advertising and marketing strategies, it doesn't have to consume a lot of your time. I think that for admin, for ads and marketing strategies and all that sort of thing, it should consume no more than 20% of your time as an author. You should be doing book writing as your main thing. If you're spending more than 20% of your time doing admin work and it's not for like a big event like a Kickstarter, then you might need to like sort of like evaluate where you are, what you want to be doing. And maybe you're like, I actually like doing all of this stuff more than writing. I want to sort of pivot my business around that. Or you're like, wow, I really miss writing a lot. And I wish I could be more writing. Then you might need to like, think about like, are these things I'm doing actually generating a good return for me? Yeah, and Jill's really good at that, by the way. Jill says, I like creating immersive content in Athens for my books, and that's the most fun. I want readers to feel like they live there. And Jill's been doing a ton of that for her Kickstarter that launches on Monday, I believe. Yes, Monday for Jill's Kickstarter. So, but sometimes the marketing stuff that you do can just sort of be fun and off the cuff. Like I was saying at the beginning, I was like writing my readers an email and just saying like, hey, by the way, I actually finally did print editions for this whole series, and I think you should really read this series because it ties all these different things together, and you really, you're going to get a lot more out of the story if you read it. And I'm like, well, if I really want them to read it, maybe I should just discount the books. So, boom, impromptu sale, 4 days. Every book in the series is 99 cents because I just want my readers to read this series so they can enjoy some of the later series even more. And then also maybe I'll pick up some print sales in the meantime because they're all out in print. I know there's a couple people that are jonesing for this series to be out in print. So, it doesn't have to be stuff that takes a lot of forethought. It can sometimes just be like, I'm going to do this crazy thing right now. Now, granted, if you're going to do sort of off the cuff stuff with your newsletter, you need to build up a pretty sizable newsletter, which means you should have the reader magnet, you should have ads going to the reader magnet, all that sort of thing, which we'll be talking about a bunch in the Fluent in Facebook ads class that starts on the 19th, which is like less than 2 weeks from now. It's like 12 days from now we kick that off, which I'll talk about a little bit more as when I catch up on the comments. So I should be putting these on the screen. Christina says, I wish I loved creating marketing tools. I don't love creating social media either, but I love doing my newsletter. You know what? I I create. I do almost nothing on social media as an author. For me, it's about my newsletter and Discord. That's the two places where I like to interact, and it's a really big thing. Wow, that is, I think, a jet black squirrel just ran across our front lawn. I'm just like, I've never seen a squirrel quite that black before. Um, but anyway, where was I? I don't have. I literally just had a squirrel moment. Like, not figuratively, literally just had a squirrel moment. So like, there's this I forget where it was from before. Monica Leonel and I were talking about it. It was from a book that she was reading. Um, and it was about like having like your zone of excellence. Like you might have things that you have four quadrants almost, and like down here are things that you're like you don't like doing and you're not good at them, and then you got things that you're okay at, and you don't mind doing them. Stuff you're like you're good at this stuff, and you have no problem doing whatsoever. But here's the stuff that you're excellent at that you can do for your purposes better than anybody else could do. You could never hire someone that could do as well as you do at that particular thing. You love doing it. That's your zone of excellence. That's where your focus needs to be, not on the other three things. And so if you love doing your newsletter and you hate doing social media, make the best newsletter ever. Like kick ass at your newsletter. Don't spend any time doing social media. Maybe you make it so your social media posts are like, hey, new newsletter just dropped, all these juicy tidbits. Here's the link. And that's it, right? Or you could just like grab a paragraph out of your newsletter that you already wrote and use that as your social media. Don't bother with social media. Stay in your zone of excellence and do the things that you are really good at and that only you can do as well as you're doing them. And don't sweat the stuff that you don't like doing. That's why I'm like, if you're gonna fire up a Discord server and like interact with your users in Discord, you need to be a Discord user. You need to be in there all the time because otherwise it's going to become a chore and not something that you like doing at all. I think Discord's a great place actually to chat because you're not on Facebook, which is a distraction engine. You know, yes, Discord can also be a distraction engine, but it's like not algorithmically designed to distract you, which is a benefit. Kate says, I need to set time to upload all my ebooks for libraries, says KU authors can do that. Okay, I didn't know that. Is that changed? How did I miss that piece of information? Oh, well, I'm the kind of person that would just probably do it anyway. That's a really good thing to do, though. Yes, we should all be doing that. If KU authors can do it, I need to dig into that a bit more. Um, direct sales for paperbacks. Only do direct sales for paperbacks if you actually enjoy it. Unless you're just doing drop shipping. If you're doing drop shipping with Lulu or something like that, then have at it. But it is something that you do want to like make sure you're going to put some effort behind because you're going to want to use Shopify to do direct sales for paperbacks, and Shopify is going to charge you what, like 15, $20 a month. So if you don't like actually like use it, you're going to just blow a bunch of money on that. And then but if you're going to update your paperbacks, you should update your blurb. So you kind of like what you probably should do, Kate, is like, okay, January's blurb month, and like one blurb every 3 or 4 days or whatever you want to do. Like, don't force yourself to go blurb crazy. One blurb every few days, get your blurbs all done, then update your paperbacks. Like work these things out in such a way that you can schedule them out, put them in your calendar, whatever, however you sort of organize your work, and not have it be this overwhelming mountainous task. I used to work with a guy, and he said, like, don't try to boil the ocean, was always his saying. It's kind of a dork in a lot of ways, but I really like that saying. Because a lot of times we try to boil the ocean, or we think like, oh my goodness, I've got to build a thing like a house, right? And instead of thinking like, okay, thinking about the steps, like lay the foundation, dig a hole, put in the concrete, something like that. We just think like, I need to make a house, and we never break it down into these smaller tasks, and it remains this mountainous thing in our minds, and it's stressful, and so on and so forth. So we gotta break it down into smaller chunks for sure. Oh, there it is. I think about it, I get super overwhelmed. Yes, I'm not surprised, Kate. Absolutely, it's a big task, and that's the same reason why I didn't get my print editions done for like $20. I think I'm not sure. I have to like update my spreadsheet because I think my spreadsheet actually got out of date, and I've done more print books than I thought I have. But still, like you look at, you're like, wow, doing 20 print editions, that's like days of work, and it's a mountain. So I'm I'm actually I'm actually kind of really fortunate. I've got this one reader who only reads print, and he basically harasses me for the books in upcoming series that he wants to read. So it's his pace. He's actually setting the pace for me, and it's very convenient. Oh, thanks, honey. T-shirt for the win. It's a Colin Furs T-shirt. Just in case you guys are curious, if you want to watch the most unhinged British YouTube creator of all time, you want to watch Colin Furs. That man has enough energy for like the next 700 people. He decided that he didn't want to have to walk the 15 feet from his garage to his house. And he's just got like a regular British row house. So I think fancy. So he dug a tunnel by hand. Well, not entirely by hand. He actually used some equipment, but he didn't like it wasn't like big equipment. It was all hand tools and whatnot. He dug that underneath his house. And then after doing that, he's like, you know what I really need? I need an underground garage in my front yard. So he ripped up his entire front yard and put in an underground garage. And he's working right now on the scissor lift that will bring a car up like James Bond style. And he's using a DeLorean. He's literally getting a DeLorean to do it. So this shirt came out because what he did is he took the truck from the first Back to the Future movie. He actually got one and he did it up to look like the Back to the Future movie truck. And then he did a modern version, a modern Toyota version of it. Anyway, he's wild. He's insane. He has the most understanding wife in the universe, and he just builds totally nuts stuff. So anyway, that's my T-shirt segue. I don't have ADHD. He also has a good be outlining what I'm doing in the Kickstarter to create momentum and also keep the excitement going. They're 2 months into the follow campaign. Yeah. So Jill, one of the big things with Kickstarter is if you want your Kickstarter to do well, you want to put a pre-launch page and you want to get readers to follow your page. The more followers you can get, the more you're going to go out with a bang with your Kickstarter. So Jill's been working on building up her followers. And her interesting thing is rather than setting a time in the like, putting a line in the sand for when the Kickstarter goes, she had a follower count that she wanted to reach. And it wasn't like hard and fast. It wasn't like I need to get like one more person that I can announce my Kickstarter. It was just like I need to get up into this range, and then I'm going to set a date for when the Kickstarter starts. And she's been writing short stories and making quests for her readers and all sorts of things. So I'm getting called out here by Tim. I basically forgotten Facebook group. Hey, I posted in it just the other day. Oh wow, I'm behind on the comments. We're back on the scroll comment here. Yes, the 80-20 rule and zone of excellence, right? Focus on your zone of excellence. It's super important to do. How long do you keep an ad running that isn't making money? So if I just started the ad, I usually give my ads 5 days to prove to me that they can actually like do something. But if an ad goes, if the ad's been up and running for a while and then it peters out and isn't making money, or well, if you've never showed promise after even 5 days, like 5 days, ads are not profitable within 5 days because your first couple of days are like you're not going to see return on those days because the Facebook system is learning who to show your ad to. Well, of course, this will be discussed in much more depth in the Fluent with Facebook Ads course. But if I had an ad that like was like at 7 or 8 days and wasn't even showing the promise of making money, it would be dead. It'd be dead in 7 days. Actually, if it showed no promise at all by 5 days, it'd be dead. But like, let's say I got an ad that's like it's like kind of like on the fence. It might be okay. I'm going to do some stuff to try to get it working. But I'm never going to sit on an ad that's not working for more than 5 days without just nuking it. And the reason why it takes a few days is because there's a delay. You make a change gets published, sometime that day, depending on the kind of change and how old your account is. It might be in review for a while. People have to see the ad. They have to, you have to get some exposure, and then people borrow the book, but they'll start reading it right away. So it takes a bit for to start to see a change in an ad. But I don't, I don't like running ads that aren't making money. I don't like leaving ads because they're not just going to. Okay, sometimes they magically start working, but they don't start magically working enough just to leave bad ads running. And for most authors, when I look at their accounts, they've got a couple of great ads, and they got a couple of ads that are just eating all the money those great ads are making. I need to look into this. It might have been, maybe it was me moving or something like that. And I was just like heads down and demolishing a basement or something and not quite keeping up on everything. But man, if we can put our books in libraries, that's huge. leads ads stall. It's almost 2 weeks with a total spend of only 50 cents. Every now and then Facebook does weird shit where it doesn't actually spend your money. It's a very unusual situation for Facebook. You just have to kill the ad. It's broken. You have to remake it. Rebecca says, I use WooCommerce for my direct sales. It's great, but I really love signing books and putting the packaging together. That's awesome. Like if you love that thing, like building the package, signing the book and knowing that you're going to like deliver something to someone who's really going to love what they open, then that's like, that might be in your zone of excellence. And there's good money to be made doing that by making these special boxes and selling special editions and whatnot. WooCommerce is also great. And Chantel says it's free with WordPress. So if you're savvy and you have a WordPress website, WooCommerce has the low price of free. You do still pay credit card processing fees to whatever credit card payment processor you're using, but it's not as expensive as doing something Shopify. And I think as well, if you make a Shopify website, you should probably nuke your regular website and just put all of your stuff on Shopify. Like don't have like an author website and a Shopify website. Just have one website. In this day and age, we don't need two. I use Wix, which is like a hybrid cross between WordPress and Shopify. I like what Wix allows me to do. It allows me to build a really customized website, and they have a good e-commerce platform. And I also run my newsletter and everything through Wix. So I've got one site that does newsletter, my main website, all of my e-commerce. It all lives in one place, and so that way, like I don't have to have a mailing list here, and then if someone buys something, well, I got to send them emails. This platform that has their email addresses, it's just all one place, and it is wunderbar. I even have my own Patreon-esque system built over there that admittedly has been languishing for a time, but I'm actually going to be doing something pretty cool for that. I crossed over in the last few months into making 60 to sometimes 70% of my money from sales and not from KU. KU is becoming a smaller and smaller portion of my business. So I'm thinking like, it's not super hard with something like Wix to build my own, section for members, which I've already done, and just put up all the EPUBs. So I'm actually going to make it so if you want to read Aeon 14 books, $5 a month, $10 a month, something like that. Read books, as many books as you want. Or maybe I'll set some thresholds so someone can't pay $5 and just download all 100 books or something. But I'm like, why am I like letting Amazon get in on this and limit what I can do? So that's one of my big plans for 2026 is leave KU and do reading subscription on my own, so people could just subscribe to read all of my books. So that's a thing to consider. Now that's a me thing. I'm pretty good with the websites. Don't feel like you got to do that. There actually are a number of other services out there, but I don't think there's a good one for subscription service for science fiction, which is why I'm thinking about doing it on my own. Glad you like Kate. You like the boil the ocean thing. Chantal says she can't stand WooCommerce, but makes enough money it's worth the annoyance. Fair enough. I'm confused. Should heading on ads for a book that is not free say it's free? Never say your books are free. It just gets you freebie hunters. I mean, people can say you can say free on Kindle Unlimited. I think that's an okay thing to say. Yes, some people will come and split hairs about whether it's not free, but I don't mention price unless it's something like an omnibus edition that's on sale, or it's like a beautiful hardcover sprayed edges book where we're selling product. We're selling this beautiful item as much as the story inside the pages. Then I might talk about price or product. But your ads really should be about the story. $4.99 is close enough to free that it might as well be free, right? Like we're not selling on price. We're selling on, I'm going to give you entertainment that you're going to appreciate for the amount of time it's taking you to read the story. That's what we should be selling on. So I never mention Kindle Unlimited in my ad copy. I'll use it in the link, which we'll talk about in the Fluid and Facebook ads course. But I'm all about story. My headline's not going to be about like purchase process or money or anything like that. My headline's about like why you should give a shit about these characters. That's what the headline needs to focus on, because your second most important piece of text. The most important piece of text being a piece of text on the image itself. And Jill actually covered some of that too. Uh, yes, he did. He built a tunnel in his house and then asked the city for approval. But he like built it all out of steel. Like the man did not build something shoddy. The city was like, oh my god, this is pretty impressive. All right, and 500 to 1,000. Oh, for your followers. Okay, yeah. So for Jill's Kickstarter, I think she was in the 300s for the number of followers. Hey, Cytheros. Dennis says that 2025 was the get the hell out of KU year for me. I'm going to keep some books in KU because I promised my readers that they would get to finish a particular storyline in KU. But that storyline will wrap in 2027. So a few things will remain in KU. And I'll probably put them in KU for like 90 days and then they'll come out of KU. But also, to be honest, I also feel like, hey, like if I actually can make a system where for $5 a month, every month you can download a certain number of books, I kind of also feel like perhaps I could just say like, hey, this is so cheap that it's, we're talking, it's not an inconvenience or something. I don't know. Food for thought. But I'm looking at this thinking like, this is my opportunity because back when I was in the thick of it too, and you might be in this position right now, or you might not. So that what you decide to do, will affect, but based on where you are. But I was like, food on the table required me to keep doing the thing I was doing, to write books and to keep pushing them out and just to focus on more and more story. Now I'm in a position where I don't need to write like a crazy person to put food on the table. So I have the opportunity to try new things. And if I pull everything out of KU and get it all up in a way that my readers can read it, I'll require off my website, download the EPUBs, and that fails, it's not the end of the world, right? So I'm giving myself the opportunity to try some new things. And something that Jill actually came up with today was, YouTube is a place I want to expand my reach. A while ago, man, it was probably 2020. I took an entire series that I own the full rights to, audiobook wise, and put them up on YouTube for free, and then collected the YouTube royalty money from that. Actually, I put 2 series up, and I feel like that's an opportunity that I never took like good enough advantage of. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a series of short stories that I'm going to write them, and they're only going to be available on YouTube at release as audiobooks. You just sort of just listen to them on YouTube and get things going that way. And that might be another way that I make it so people can just access a lot more of the book, because YouTube is great. You get paid by YouTube to have people listen to your books for free. It's kind of weird. Like the users don't pay anything, but you still get paid. It's a great way to put your content out there, expand your reach. Ads heyday, I was probably doing like $2,000 or $3,000 a month just in AdSense royalties off YouTube, which was pretty good. And I was getting like massive exposure, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of impressions a month. And a lot of those people were coming over and buying the Audible versions too if they wanted to get wanted to support, or they go buy the ebook if they want to support or something like that. Thank you. It's not just 2 audiobooks, Tim. It's 2 whole series. It's Lissa and Rika. Their whole series are both up there. That makes sense. I might have started it in 2020. I feel like though, but maybe I did re-upload some things. So yeah, I do feel like it's getting to be a time where if you're in KU and you're only on Amazon, there's so many opportunities now to be doing things off Amazon. That's definitely something to be thinking about. But that being said, because most of us have a lot of unfinished things floating around, it does bear some thinking about like, what do we need to do to get our house in order, to feel like we're not just like adding more things to the list. How can we check some things off the list? And then also, how can we like look at the list and be like, you know what? I don't need to do these things ever. Like, remove them from the list. I'm never getting to them. I need to free up brain space to do some other things, because they're not, in my zone of excellence. They're not really adding to my bottom line. They're just making me dislike my job. So that's something I think that we really need to give some solid thought to. Oh my God, it's 40 past the hour already. I do not feel like I've been talking for this long. So I'm just curious, who else has things that they need to do to sort of get their house in order, to clean up all the stuff that they need to do? I know Monique, she's not doesn't seem to be here today, but she's been working like all 2025 on rewriting and re-releasing a series. And now she's like, it's all done. It's rapid releasing over the next few months, and she's freed up to actually work on these new projects. So I know that was like a big effort she did to get her house in order. Uh, Cecilia says, just started placing some of my books on YouTube, but do not have enough followers yet to monetize. Most of my newsletter subscribers did not subscribe to YouTube. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing that we kind of experience across the board. I had this one author who he had a relatively small newsletter, and he hit up his newsletter and asked and said like, "Hey, for everybody on my newsletter, you guys get a free ARC copy of this book. Who would like to grab it?" And only 10% of the people, actually grabbed the ARC copy of the book. And he was lamenting. He thought that was not good, and it should have been a lot better. Like 20% click rate on an email is actually pretty good. So people have a lot going on, right? And on top of that, like they don't open every email you send. They just might be busy and they might be like, I just need to get to inbox zero right now. And I'm gonna like sacrifice everything that's not utterly crucial on the altar of inbox zero. Because until I get to inbox zero, my brain can't actually function. Like that's how some people work. That's how I work. Um, and I'll take things that like, yeah, I probably would have been interested in it, but like for me at that moment to get things decluttered in my mind, inbox zero is the only thing that matters, and I'll just not read emails. So they might not have seen that email. They might have been busy. They might just been like mixed in with a bunch of junk. Who knows? Um, so it's normal. 30% open rate is normal. 10% click rate is actually pretty good, depending on what you're offering. New releases, of course, are going to generally have higher click rates. Non-new releases will have lower click rates. Depending on newsletter engagement and other things. Actually, even 10% is pretty good for click rate on a release because not all clicks are tracked as well. So anyway, it's pretty normal to like do something new like YouTube and having like not everybody on your newsletter give a crap and follow through. The cool thing though is that YouTube has new people that are over there that are that you can find. Now monetization does take a while. It took me with like a 10,000 person mailing list. It took me like a solid 4 or 5 months to hit monetization. I even ran some ads over there trying to build up an audience, and I had like okay success doing that because even if you can get people to watch your stuff on YouTube, not everybody subscribes. Um, they're just like, this was cool and I liked it, but I don't want it in my feed, which doesn't matter anymore because the feed on YouTube is garbage now anyway. But you get my point, right? Like not everybody subscribes is going to subscribe. So it does take time. It takes effort. It could take, I think the average author, it could take you a year to get to monetization on YouTube. So you have a plan for that. For like, how can I release content enough to keep people interested, but not like not like blow all my content before I even monetize. Because you definitely want to have new content to put on YouTube after you monetize. Becca, I'm finally going to start actually working on my newsletter because I'm putting it off because it's my least favorite part. I'm curious, Rebecca, what's the thing you don't like about doing your newsletter? I'm quite curious about that because I wonder if there's like a way to leverage something else you're doing to make your newsletter easier. So I'm down to hear that. And so do a ton of metadata updates at the end of my books, painful but necessary. Yeah, because none of the other places want Amazon links in the back of your book. So what it probably means is you've got to have you could be using Genius links or books to read or something like that, or your own website. You got to get that all set up so you have links to all the different places for your books, and then change all your back matter to link to that thing. I end up doing it on my website. My website is sort of the master place that everything links. Not all my back matter is fully up to date, though. I mentioned at the beginning I'm still updating some back matter that hasn't been touched in years to make sure it points to my website and all the links are correct and everything. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. This is a great opportunity for snazzy UT images and banners. Yeah, I think so too. It's tricky. Like obviously, some people don't like AI. They think the AI is the devil. Some people will use AI for everything. Some people are somewhere in the middle. I do feel like there's certain things that have always been out of reach for us indie authors. They've cost too much money. They haven't had a guaranteed return, or even the possibility of a return. So we can't do them. And some of this stuff is like, this is our opportunity. And if you if you think about like it, depending on where you draw the line for certain things, um, it would be a huge opportunity for you to use some AI video stuff to actually make like just cool looking backgrounds and stuff like that, or space scenes or something like that. And if you don't like using AI and you're willing to put a little bit of elbow grease in and like get a copy of Adobe Premiere or DaVinci or something like that, there's a lot of stock video out there now that's pretty inexpensive that has some pretty cool stuff in it too. So there's definitely some opportunity. And like the cool thing is like people have now been creating like stock video content for over a decade, and it's all there still. Like it doesn't go away. So our library of available content is getting huge. Um, Celia says, I have 1,100 subscribers, 40% open rate. That's a great open rate. And like I said, your click rate is really going to depend on what you're offering. Um, your click rate, well, your click rate will depend on your open rate. So the higher your open rate, the more humans you're going to get on that click rate. Subject lines are so important. Testing subject lines is something that you really got to do with your newsletters. Paying attention to the subject lines that get you to click like every day. Like look at your inbox and all the emails you get. What's getting you to click? And are they using emotion? Are they triggering curiosity? How are they doing that? That's a really big part of the art form that is email marketing. I was going to say one more thing on AI is I'm like a big believer. Like, okay, if we're going to get like we'll be building better and better machines to do more work from us. What's the kind of work that I absolutely hate doing and can't bear to do? And I tell you, it finally occurred to me to go to Claude and be like, Claude, I need you to make me a PowerPoint presentation that has this stuff. Like, I'll gleefully write out the bullet points, but maybe somehow making the PowerPoint presentation like carves out a piece of my soul. I don't know why. I just cannot stand to do it. And Claude did it for me. Claude arranged fonts and shapes and colors on a PowerPoint screen and made something that was perfectly cromulent. And I'm like, oh my god, this is without a doubt the best use of AI ever. Is just making PowerPoint presentations because they're the worst things ever. So, so I'm getting hungry, so I probably should wrap up. I mean, you guys get to eat during lunch with Mel, and Mel doesn't get to eat during lunch with Mel because no one wants to watch me jamming food in my mouth for an hour. It has happened a couple times. There's been a few times where food has arrived and I've been starving, and hopefully people have forgiven me for eating a little bit, but I do my best not to do that. Anywho, um, I really do want you guys to think about like kind of things can you do to get your house in order. Some of those small tasks that have been hanging out that the tyranny of the urgent keeps them from getting done. But boy, they give you a great dopamine hit if you could get them done, and they would enable you to do other things. And don't, like I said, don't try to boil the ocean, but like carve them out and actually spend some time getting them done. The reward will be worth it. And like I said before, like I was quoting Alex, whose name I can never remember, the guy who does builds fitness software and stuff. And is a very good public speaker. He's like, there are no silver bullets, but there are 100 golden BBs. And if you can get those things right, so it means that there's small things, but each one is valuable, and together they're the thing that polish on what you've got going on. So if you can get that 100 golden BBs rolling, then things will really start to shape up, and collectively they'll become your silver bullet. And doing some of that little stuff, getting your house in order, is a big part of that. I'm behind the comments. Jill is a PA who does her newsletter. But I pay more attention now since someone else is in charge of sending it out. That's kind of true, right? Like sometimes the PA, I dropped a USB stick somewhere down there. Sometimes your PA is almost like just like a person. Like the fact that they need to do some work, it gets you doing the work. Like if you hire cleaners, they're going to clean your house a bit before the cleaners show up, so that they can do a better job, right? So they're not spending their time doing this, trying to figure out where some of your stuff goes. They can actually just do the actual cleaning. It can help move you forward and get stuff done. Rebecca says, I don't know what to write, and I don't like to bother people. I don't read newsletters, so writing doesn't come naturally. I don't read newsletters very much either. But if you were to imagine you're talking to your most rabid fan. So that's the first thing. If you have trouble writing a newsletter, you need to think of a persona, a person you're talking to, a friend, you know, that maybe you got a friend who's like also an author who likes reading your books or something. Someone that you can imagine writing to and write the letter to them, telling them about what you've got going on, what you're excited about, what's troubling you, that sort of thing. So it's all a matter of the audience, right? I suspect you're having trouble sort of imagining because you say I don't like to bother people. So you immediately feel like these people that have signed up to get messages from you don't want messages from you, which, is sort of like creating this idea like you don't know what they want. You might be trying to people please them. So you're trying to please these people, but you don't know who they are. And then you can't actually tell them anything because you don't know what this unknown person that you want to please wants to hear. And I could totally see how that can lock you up and you wouldn't be able to figure out what to do. So, like I said, find a person, create them in your mind, come up with use a real person, something like that, write the letter to them. And then it also happens to go out to all these other people who signed up to hear from you, right? Like you're not bothering them. If they're bothered, they'll unsubscribe. That's fine. I used to send newsletters twice a week and had very low unsubscribe rate because I was excited and I was talking to them. I mean, I interact with my readers enough that I know a lot of them. So in a way, I'm thinking of them when I'm writing my newsletter, and that's what really helps it flow. Right. Yes, it is, isn't it? But I'm sure Tim's responding, talking about PowerPoint presentations. And yeah, if you want to join the Fluent in Facebook Ads workshop, you can go to the URL there, school.com/thewritingwives/plans. I believe that there's the lowest end plans don't get you access to the live stuff. You'll get it later, like a month or so later once it's wrapped up. But the plans will get you access to all that stuff, talking about Facebook ads, learning about what you got to be doing this year after Facebook's huge year of changes last year, where so much is different at the end of the year than it was at the beginning of the year. It's interesting too because we didn't want to call it a beginner class because then all the people who think they kind of know Facebook don't want to take a beginner class. But if you make an advanced class, one, some people who are beginners show up, and two, a lot of people are scared because they're like, well, I don't feel like I'm advanced. I don't feel like I know enough to do an advanced class. So really, it's about becoming fluent in Facebook ads and getting good at them. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner. It doesn't matter if you're advanced. This is sort of a new foundation, and becoming comfortable and familiar enough with the system that you can sort of roll with the punches and it's work for you. You are very welcome, Denise. I'm happy to do it. And Jill says, yes. Wow. 1x a day. Yeah. Your marketing newsletter is the one place where you control you have direct access to your readers and you control it. No one else stands in the way of you reaching out to your readers. So it's a really powerful tool. And like, if you're like posting on social media, in your fan group or something like that, just use that content for your newsletter. Like your chances are you're making some sort of content somewhere that you could just also leverage for your newsletter. So that's one of the things I think that can also help a lot too. Maybe not in your exact case, Rebecca, but I think for somebody out there, you're probably putting together a lot of content and that could just be your newsletter as well. And then vice versa. You might be like, I don't know what to post on social media. Just post your newsletter on social media. A lot of options. That's true. Yes, you do have to do it. Otherwise, what's the point, right? If you're not going to tell people what your Kickstarter, there's no running it. All right, my voice is going away, and I need to get it back because I got a call to get on. So I will see you all next week. And like I said, for those of you who want to come to our Fluent in Facebook Ads class, it's going to start on Monday the 19th. So you can go to the URL that Jill posted above. Time for that. Also, Jill's Kickstarter, Dungeons and Donuts, launches on Monday, the 12th. Yes. And it's super awesome, super cute. Jill's having a ton of fun with it. And you should totally go to Kickstarter.com and search for Dungeons and Donuts and join the waiting list. The preview page. I forget what it's called now. There's a word for it. The watch list. Wait list? Something like that. And see what she's put together. It's pretty cool. All right, folks. I will see you in the future. Have yourselves a fabulous day and a great weekend.